Hey everyone, Sky here, and as you saw from that showcase, welcome to the Beyblade Amazon build. Now this is a build that specializes in speed and mapping, bossing, and pinnacle content. It's an all-rounder build that can tackle all of the current content that 0.2.0G offers. And it is, in my opinion, one of the best Amazon builds, if not the best, in the Dawn of the Hunt League. Now, there is a disclosure that what I am showing you is not a cheap build if you want to balance your defenses along with your offense that this build offers. It's easy to get this build going, but it will be a glass cannon until you can balance those defenses in terms of evasion, energy shield, and resistances. As you progress with this build and start to get into min-maxing your gear, the cost spikes exponentially. Now, first off, I would like to give a shout out to Snoobay85 and Kingpin Uwu. This build is inspired by Snoobbay's accuracy stacking Twister Amazon and Kingpin's attribute stacking Whirling / Ritualist. I took what I liked the most from both builds, and upon theorycrafting with my guildmate Ice B, I created what I like to call the Beyblade Amazon, which is at its core an accuracy stacking Whirling / Amazon. Now with that, let's get into how this build works. As mentioned, this build works by stacking accuracy, and specifically for the Amazon Ascendancy. As an Amazon, you benefit three ways from accuracy: in damage, critical hit chance, and attack speed. So this is similar to the attribute stacking Gemling or Invoker of 0.1, where for example, stacking Dexterity gave increased attack speed from three sources: Pillar of the Cage God, Hoa, and the Falcon Technique passive node. Stacking Intelligence and Strength gave different bonuses, but you get the point. So for the three benefits for Amazon, in the Amazon Ascendancy, the critical strike node will take 25% of your excess hit chance from accuracy and add it to your critical hit chance. So if you look here, my Whirling Slash, I have around 81,000 accuracy and an effective main hand critical hit chance from hit chance at around 196%. I'm not 100% sure on the math behind this, so I use Path of Building to calculate my critical rate of my skills. So as you see here in PoB, my Whirling Slash has roughly an 87% chance to crit. Now the next ascendancy node is Penetrate. So this takes 25% of the accuracy that's specifically on your weapon and adds it to the spear's base physical damage, which is huge because it's added before all of the damage calculations take place. So for example, my current spear, I have 900 accuracy on it, 680 from the explicit modifiers, and 220 from the vision runes. Now 25% of 900 is 225, meaning this 136 to 253 that you see on this physical damage is actually 361 to 478 for my Amazon. So that adds a lot of damage to it. So the last benefit of accuracy stacking is the Falcon Dive passive node, which is right here. So you gain 1% attack speed per 250 accuracy. So as you can tell, the more we set accuracy, the faster that we can attack. Now there is also Falcon Technique over here, and where you gain 1% attack speed per 25 dex, and Hoa, which is 1% attack speed per 20 dex. We're not taking those because it's a lot easier to stack 500 accuracy than it is to stack 25 dexterity, mainly through all the accuracy passive nodes that we have. So with these benefits in mind, let's talk about where to get accuracy. So in my PoB, you will see where I get all of my accuracy nodes. So if I search here for accuracy, you'll see all the ones that I've taken. With this, along with the accuracy you're getting from your gear, all the multiplications that happen, it's all of these assist in increasing my accuracy stat. And with that, we can segue into gearing with the sources of accuracy on our gear. The sources of accuracy are your helmet, rings, amulet, gloves, weapon, and in this build, the Lycos Today unique shield. So you can get accuracy as a prefix modifier on these items, and the rings and the amulet can only roll up to tier 8, which is up to 450 accuracy, while the helmet and the gloves can roll up to tier 9, which is up to 550 accuracy. So for the helmet, the mandatory modifier is just accuracy. Otherwise, you want to go with as high of a energy shield base as you can, because with the subterfuge mask passive node, we're able to turn essentially any energy shield helmet into an evasion ES hybrid with values that you normally can't get with those evasion ES hybrid bases. So for example, my helmet is actually 413 energy shield and 826 evasion, which is extremely high compared to any evasion energy shield hybrid item in the game. So as you min max, the suffixes that you want on this is resistances to cover any that you're missing, and if you don't need those resistances, then you can get the crit chance suffix, which will allow you to take less crit chance nodes on the tree. Another reason why we go for an ES helmet is that it is a high intelligence requirement, but we're already using cast on crit, which is already 133 intelligence requirement for the base level. So for the amulet, any implicit base is fine for the most part. Some are more useful than others, like an attribute's more useful over life regen or flat mana. The mandatory modifiers here are accuracy and spirit. So between the body armor and the amulet, for the meta skills that I use in this build, I need an additional 90 spirit. So I'm getting 45 from my amulet and another 45 from my body armor. Other modifiers that you will want on this is stuff like increased evasion or increased energy shield for defense purposes, plus melee skills if your gloves do not have it, and then attributes and resistances as needed. So for the rings, there are two choices on your base, either being an emerald ring or a breach ring. So emerald rings have a higher total accuracy due to their implicit. So as you see on my left ring, I have 174 accuracy implicit and 538 accuracy as a prefix. So this does give me more attack speed overall because I am stacking the accuracy, but if you wanted to get more damage with the breach ring, which allows you to get up to 40% quality, which means that it can get higher flat damage bonuses than emerald rings. So it's more of a preference thing. If you want more attack speed and crit chance, you go for emerald rings. If you want more damage and have breach rings with highly rolled flat damage prefixes, then you go for breach rings. As I said, I went speed. I wanted speed, so I went with emerald rings. Now the mandatory modifiers on the rings are accuracy, some kind of flat damage, and mana leech if your gloves don't have it. The other modifiers that you would want is attributes, resistances, evasion, or mana. I use ingenuity over headhunter as well because this further boosts the accuracy stats on my rings. So in turn, that gives me more attack speed and critical hit chance. For gloves, the mandatory modifiers are flat damage of some kind, accuracy, and attack speed, and mana leech if your rings don't have it. So at least one source of mana leech is required for this build to work well on bosses because most of our damage is physical, so leech works really well with this build. So other modifiers to look out for on gloves is more flat damage, critical damage, or plus melee skills if your amulet doesn't have it. For the weapon, as you saw earlier, you basically want a spear that has all of what what my spear has minus the melee skills. So high accuracy, decent physical damage, as close to 2 attacks per second as possible, some crit chance, and if you have room, then critical damage is the line instead of the melee skills. So as long as the spear has some form of these, it doesn't have to be high, it will get the build started. And since we're in Amazon, the Vision rune is the best rune for this because, as I said earlier, it adds not only attack speed and critical hit chance, but also the flat damage for the penetrate ascendancy node. So the shield of this build is, or the offhand, is the Lycosidae Tower Shield. It's a build enabler unique that, in my opinion, cannot be replaced. So you could switch this to a Sacred Flame, and it does increase your single target damage, which in this build is Primal Strikes, but you do sacrifice a lot of crit chance and attack speed in doing so, mainly because of the accuracy rating is doubled line on this unique shield. Personally, for me, the benefits of Sacred Flame did not outweigh the benefits of Lycos today, so that's why I stuck with this. The charms are pretty standard. You want one freeze, one stun for defense purposes, and then a golden charm for loot purposes. So for the boots, as you see, I have 2 pairs in one in my inventory and one that I have equipped. This is something that's more preference based, and I'll get a little bit into it here, but we'll get more in depth in the skill section of this guide. So at the core of this build, you want to have a lightning infused whirling slash. So by default, the whirling slash has no element, and the lightning infused whirling slash is by far the best element for whirlwind because ignite only does a limited damage over time, or I guess fire tornado or fire whirlwind, even when scaled up with incinerate, and the ice whirlwind will only chill and slow enemies in it, and meaning that it will never freeze. So lightning is it will immediately and permanently shock any enemies that walk into it. So that's extra 20% damage that you're doing immediately. And of course, that shock can also be amplified through shock magnitude. So one way to easily generate shock ground is use these boots right here, the Wake of Destruction unique boots. These are boots that Synthwave mentioned in his Twister build, and it's simply you just put it on, walk any distance, and as you can see, it immediately turns my whirlwind into lightning infused whirlwind. So for the boots of this build, you could be lazy and just use the Wake of Destruction, and just everywhere you move, you're creating a shocked ground, which is great for just being lazy with the build. But the upsides of these boots are that it's easy to get 2 socket corruption because there's so many on the market. So you get the benefit of an extra rune socket. You get additional flat damage. So you see there 1 to 49 flat lightning damage, similar to what you can get on a ring, on your gloves. These, it is a DPS increase. And as I said earlier, the free shock ground is really nice in case your whirlwind does break in a map or any content. The downside to them is that they lack a lot in defense in both evasion, energy shield, and resistances. So personally for me, I chose to use these high evasion boots with enough resistances on them to cap me, as well as boost my evasion rate up to 73%. So I put them on here. You see, boost up to 80 to 73%, which makes this build super comfortable in all content. So that's it for the gear. I realized that I did forget to talk about the body armor, so I'll do it here. I am using a Warrior Invictus body armor that gives me Chaos Res, increased level defenses, which covers armor, evasion, and energy shield, and Spirit per core socketed. It's not required for this build, but I chose this one because it is a part of what Synthwave was using, but also it allowed me to get a comfortable amount of chaos resistance, which is 50%, enough spirit for the meta skills I use, which is 45 from the armor, 45 from the amulet, to get the 90 that I need, and gave me a good balance of evasion and energy shield. But the most important thing is it gave me the versatility of 5 rune sockets. So I could, as I was gearing up, I was using these to, for example, put in a chaos resistance soul cores to cap my chaos resistance, or elemental resistance soul cores or runes to cover any missing resistances that my other gear didn't have, which I did, as I said, as I was gearing up, or attributes with the new attribute runes. So here I put in 5 dexterity runes, which gave me a lot more base accuracy that is, again, amplified through the increased accuracy percent modifiers, which in turn gives me more crit chance and attack speed. So I like the versatility of it, but you could probably get away with using a high evasion energy shield hybrid armor piece that as actually would be probably more comfortable because it will get you up closer to the 80% evasion and a higher energy shield amount overall. So, and also if you don't really care for some of the meta skills, as in like you don't need them, you can also opt to use Hyri's Ire for the free acrobatics without the negative, and some additional flat cold damage, which is more damage overall. For the jewels on this build, I am using 2 emeralds, 1 time lost emerald, and 1 megalomaniac. So on the base emeralds, you want to look for anything that has increased attack speed with spears, increased attack damage, increased damage with spears, increased critical hit chance, critical damage bonus for spears, and increased accuracy rating. For one of my emeralds, I look for a balance of everything. So I got critical hit chance, attack speed, accuracy rating, and attack damage on this one. On this one, I focus more on attack speed, which was attack speed with spears, and the accuracy rating. The extra damage for spears is a kind of a mid-roll, but it is benefiting the overall damage. On my time lost, I have it on the right side here, and have it so I'm getting additional lightning damage, which is great for primal strikes for single target, increased accuracy rating for the small nose, which increases my attack speed and critical hit chance. And then I have these 2 notable passives, give increased critical hit chance and critical hit damage, which is a good bonus to or just to cover any crit chance that I need, along with critical damage bonus. Now you could replace these notables with increased attack speed and increased attack speed with spears to get an additional attack speed to, if you wanted to further boost your Whirling Slash and basically all of your other attack speeds for single target and for mapping. But I opted for more balance of critical. In the Megalomaniac, I have it allocating Overwhelming Strike, which is 20% increased crit chance for attacks, critical damage, and more stun build up with critical hits, which is a really good node. And I also have Authority, which is increased area of effect, and the cooldown recovery rate doesn't really matter for this build. But if you're going for a Megalomaniac route, I do highly recommend at least 1 allocation of an area of effect attacks, effect of attacks, because the bigger the you can make the Whirling Slash, the better it is for not just for clearing but also for defensive purposes, because the further away you are from the enemy, which the bigger the size of your whirlwind, the less chance that they'll be able to hit you, especially for melee only monsters. So Authority is down here, and Blurred Motion, but Overwhelming Strike's over here. Which Blurred Motion is the anoint that I am allocating on my amulet. I think it's the best because you get a lot of attack speed, a lot of accuracy rating, and a lot of percent increased dexterity, which again is more accuracy on top of that. So those are the main anoints or allocations that I have. Again, your mileage may vary with what Megalomaniac you find on the market, but anything that increases your attack damage, melee damage, physical damage, critical hit chance, critical damage, and area of effect. Also lightning penetration, lightning damage, any notable that gives any of those are also viable. If you do not go this route, then another emerald that's similar to the other ones that I've mentioned is perfectly fine. Same thing for this time lost emerald. It's not mandatory. You can always just use 4 emeralds and then go along with that. If you do end up using a sapphire, you could opt for more energy shield, more mana on kill, not that it's needed, but also you can get critical chance as well as area of effect. For rubies, you can also get area of effect, more attack damage, more stun buildup if you are into that, but there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to the jewels. Now, before I get into the skills, I wanted to say that the WASD input method or controller is mandatory in order to play this build. With point and click, your character will move towards your cursor until they are in range to cast Whirling, which creates a really janky interaction that will move your character out of your whirlwind and make the build basically unplayable. Now for the skills of this build, it requires 3 Whirling Slashes, one for snapshotting the size as well as creating a permanent Font of Rage and Blood buff, one for damage, and one for movement when there are no enemies to hit. The snapshot and moving Whirlings are level 1, while the DPS one is level 19 or higher. So mine is level 20 plus 3, and then my Whirling, my other 2 are level 1 plus 3 from my spear. So the snapshot and DPS whirling slashes are required to have 5 sockets, while the movement one can be any. I had 4 in mind because I was doing some additional testing, but it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be whatever. So in the damage whirling, I have martial tempo, bullseye, conk effect, inspiration, and lightning infusion. So out of all of these, bullseye is the only one that increases the cost multiplier, so it makes it 10% more mana cost. So combined with inspiration, my damage whirling slashes only costs me 44 mana per cast. In the snapshot whirling, which I have down here, I have expanse, reach, magnified effect, font of rage, and font of blood. So we are only using this skill once to start our whirlwind, so we want it to be as big of an AoE as possible. That's why we call it a snapshot. In the movement whirling, you literally don't need anything in it, but for me, I left on these during my testing, which was Soul Thief, Heft, Cold Infusion, and Elemental Focus. I was interchanging these with my damage whirling slash to see if I can make it more comfortable than it already is, but I ended up leaving them there. So if needed, this movement whirling slash can do some work if I'm not casting the damaging one. So with the 3 whirling slashes out of the way this setup will work is that you'll cast your snapshot, which is my F, and then you're good to go. Any other whirling slash you cast will continuously use the snapshotted whirling slash, and as you can see, it has font of rage and blood permanently. So now I'm at 30 rage, and I permanently have that as long as I'm in the whirlwind. So the next step in this is we want to make this whirlwind lightning infused. So as you saw in the previous section, you can equip these boots and move around and make it lightning infused. If you're just doing a lazy way and have this on by default, then the moment you cast your snapshot, it's immediately lightning infused. If you're not, there is the other way, which is using this skill, Thunder Sleep. So the unfortunate or the downside of using this skill is that you do have to give up one of your meta skills, whether it be Mana Remnants or Wind Dancer, or I'll get more into this later. But you'd have to get rid of one of these in order to use it. So we take off Wind Dancer, put on Thunder Sleep, and you need Shocking Leap as a support gem for it. So if you're doing it this way, you would need to find an enemy first, and the moment you find one, you would use a Thunder Sleep on it. If you crit, then you can cast your snapshot and go along your way with your lightning infused whirlwind. So I ended up going with carrying around these boots and just having them with me because one, Thunder Sleep is more dangerous because you have to get into melee range and actually hit and crit an enemy to create your shock ground to start the whirlwind. And two, it took up a slot that I can use something like Wind Dancer or Mana Remnants to make the build more comfy or more durable. The bossing and single target skills for this build are Rapid Assault and Primal Strikes. You want both of these as high level as possible. For me, I have both of them level 21 Corrupt. And in Rapid Assault, I have Practice Combo, Ruthless, Splinter, Break Posture, and Overpower. Now, Rapid Assault is primarily used for debuffing the boss and generating combo stacks for Primal Strikes. With the higher damage of a higher level, the damage that you do with Rapid Assault with Splinter will instantly break the armor of the target, meaning you do more physical damage to them, and with the Break Posture, right here, you'll instantly daze them when you fully break their armor. Now, Daze increases the stun buildup that the target receives. This debuff lasts 8 seconds, but when you combine this with Overpower, Ruthless, and with the higher physical damage that you're doing with the skill and fully armor broken target, it's very easy to stun bosses, or the heavy stun bosses, making them easier to kill. So this is not limited to map bosses, but also to pinnacle bosses. Now, Primal Strikes is our main DPS skill for single target. In it, I have Close Combat, Bloodlust, Overextend, Blindside, and Culmination. Now, Culmination is what allows it to stack combo that Rapid Assault and any other melee skill will help build up. Primal Strikes synergizes really well with the Lightning Infused Whirlwind that we have because the final strike of it will consume the shock to apply lightning exposure on a target, and while it's shocked, it would generate extra lightning stack spears that do 100% lightning damage. And since anything in the Lightning Infused Whirlwind gets instantly and permanently shocked, the shock gets reapplied every second after it gets consumed. So when I'm in Simulacrum, I do swap the Lightning Infusion that's on the Damaging Whirling Slash right here with Culmination on Primal Strikes because I never use Primal Strikes in Simulacrum, and it allows the combo to stack on the Damaging Whirling Slash. Now, Culmination does state that when the supported skill gets used, the stacks get consumed, boosted by 3% damage per stack. But through my testing, it looks like any melee skill that has an additional effect, such as the Primal Strike's additional spirits when the enemy is shocked, or the whirlwind that the Whirling Slash is creating, you'll continue to combo alongside consuming it, meaning you can infinitely stack combo as long as you're hitting something. The meta skills that I use in this build are Herald of Thunder, Cast on Crit, Mana Remnants, and Wind Dancer. The Spirit Reserving support gem that's required for this build is Precision, so whenever you equip it on an active meta skill, it will give you 30% more accuracy rating, which, you know, as we're stacking accuracy, gives us all of the benefits of increased accuracy. So in total, this takes 190 spirits. So as I said in the gear section, I'm getting 90 from my body armor and amulet, and 100 from completing campaign. So in Herald of Thunder, I have Innervate, Electrocute, Primal Armament, Neural Overload, and Ambush. So I'm using Herald of Thunder in this build more for defensive purposes than for damage. So with Electrocute and Neural Overload, any enemies in even rare monsters are instantly electrocuted the moment they're hit by an Herald of Thunder bolt. And since everything that we're touching with the Lightning Infused Whirlwind gets shocked, Herald of Thunder procs very frequently. So on Cast on Crit, I'm using Sniper's Mark, Voltaic Mark, Comet, Cold Penetration, and Impetus. So this skill, or this meta skill, is mainly used for Pinnacle bossing, but it can also be used for normal bossing and mapping, as it will basically help in killing tankier monsters faster. So yes, you can only have one mark on an enemy at one time, but because you're attacking so quickly on a boss, you're applying and consuming the Sniper's Mark repeatedly while interweaving Voltaic Marks to improve the shock magnitude of her Lightning Infused Whirlwind, which makes the target take more damage. So I've done extensive testing on what spell will be best with or most impactful in killing a boss quickly, and I found that Comet was the best option. While the time differences were minimal on my test against T4 Zesht, it was noticeable enough to use Comet over the other spells. The other spells that I've tried using were Arc, Ball Lightning, Lightning Conduit, Frostbolt, Fireball, and then, since there were 2 slots, any combination of the 2. The next meta skill that I use is Mana Remnants. This is what makes the build so comfortable in mapping, because alongside your Mana Leech, there's no need for a Mana on Kill Sapphire, which allows you to go with another Emerald that gives you more attack speed, accuracy, crit chance, or crit damage, or damage with spears. So in Mana Remnants, you only need 3 sockets, one for Dissipate, one for Interlude, and one for Precision. So Dissipate and Interlude increase the magnitude of the mana you gain per remnant, but what's important is Interlude, because as you're speeding through a map and consuming mana, as you're grabbing those remnants and your mana drains, the 3-second delay with Interlude allows you to spend longer without immediately overcapping mana with them without it. So the last meta skill that I use is Wind Dancer. I use Unbreakable, Wind Wave, and Arm's Length on it, but this is where the flexibility comes in. This is not required. I chose this because it boosts my evasion from 67% to 73%, and it gave me another defensive layer with the Gale explosion from Wind Dancer when I get hit. You can opt to go for whatever else you want, like whether it be Ghost Dance for more like instant energy shield regeneration when you get hit, or Thunder Sleep to, as I showed earlier, to not need to do any gear swapping for your new Whirlwind every time. Another option that you have as well is Charge Infusion. So this build with the Cast on Crit Sniper's Mark, you're generating a lot of frenzy charges that are not really being used. You can start using them with Charge Infusion. This will give you at level 19 with 20 quality, you're getting 11% more skill speed when you have Frenzy Charge. So it'll make you spin faster with Whirling Slash. It'll make you stab faster with both Rapid Assault and Primal Strikes when you're bossing. Alternatively, you could spec into, since you're already up here, into Resonance, which makes the Sniper's Mark grant you power charges instead. And with Charge Infusion, you get the 19% more crit chance while you have a power charge. And this percent is multiplicative on top of your final crit rate on your skill. So if, for example, if you're 80%, you get additional, you multiply that by an extra 19%, meaning you'll get closer to 100% than having it as a modifier on a piece of gear, for example. So there's a bit of flexibility there. You can put whatever you want, but as I said, I chose Wind Dancer for the extra evasion. So one of the biggest issues with this build is similar to the Tempest Flurry attribute stacking build of 0.1s, that as you're moving around, it's very easy for you to get stuck on terrain. Like for example, between these two trees, it's very easy to get stuck, and that can get pretty annoying as you're going through a map or fighting dangerous enemies. So what I've done to really get around that is to basically use the WASD keys on my keyboard to in the direction that I'm moving. So if I'm going towards the bottom left, I'm holding down A and S. But as I get near an area that I would likely get stuck on, which is just done to playing this build for a long time, instead of holding down the skill to move, I would tap just once or twice, basically in a rhythm to get around it. So normally you get stuck like this trying to go through. I would instead hold where I'm going to go and just tap, and then I would just be able to navigate tight corners like this pretty easily, as you can see here. It's not the best solution, but with practice it makes getting through the biggest negative of this build a lot easier, and it makes mapping more comfortable, especially in maps with tight corridors like Crypt, Augury, Hive, what else is there? Creek, Trenches. And with that concludes this build guide for the Beyblade Amazon. I apologize if I was rambling at all throughout the video. I didn't expect it to be this long. I don't normally make these kind of videos, but I really wanted to share this build because I really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun playing it and building it and min-maxing it. So if there's any additional questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching.